Apparently you can afford it. And then it will be 68, 67, and the Democrats can quit pouting and crying, and they'll be back in power by a vote. Yeah. So we also have had announced today the resignation of the Department of Human Services Commissioner. This would be Walz's Department of Human Services Commissioner, Jodi Harpstead.
Well, that's odd.
So this must mean there's a hell of a new fraud coming along.
She's getting ahead of it?
Because she's going to get out of there before the bleep hits the fan, just like Heather Mueller left the Department of Education and the food fraud scandal broke free. Now we have the Department of Human Services Commissioner Jodi Harpstead stepping down. She was appointed in August 2019. She's leaving on Feb 3.
On the 3rd of Feb.
So about Feb 4 or 5, you can expect a real storm. You can expect a Santa Ana wind of more fraud. Woo-hoo. But it won't be her fault.
No, she wasn't there.
Yeah. She said, I have been so proud to be the commissioner of the caring, competent, and high-capacity Department of Human Services. Oh, good Lord. Harpstead said, I'm pleased that we were able to balance new, stronger process controls with greater responsiveness to community partners. Foghorn Community Partner.
I got you right
That's
here.
just thrown around way too. Everyone's a partner.
Mm-hmm. Does that bother you more or less than when Target refers to their people as guests? Which one bugs you more?
Ooh, it's a tie.
It's up there.
You know, when I go to Target, I'm not your bleeping guest.
She didn't give a good reason, did she?
I'm pleased that we were able to balance new, stronger, and process controls with greater responsiveness to community partners. Worked with the DHS grants and contracts team to imagine a redesign of the agency's thousands of grants. Most of them, not all of them, but a lot of fraud there, Jodi. Now, I'm not saying Jodi's a fraudster. I'm just saying there's some trouble coming around the bend. But they've built an unparalleled team of strong senior leaders.
Management speak.
Sure.
That sounds like something I've read in an email. Reply all.
And Walz, of course, applauded Harpstead's work. Well, he applauded Heather Mueller's, too. And she went out the door.
Right.
With her full pension, benefits, whatever.
They take care of their own.
You know, Jodi ain't going to be looking for her next meal. I am proud of her work running the most complex and wide-ranging agency in state government, Walz said. I am especially proud of how Commissioner Harpstead supported the enterprise-wide work to separate DHS into 3 separate agencies will make each of them more effective, more accountable, and easier to manage. The Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Remember that? The Department of Children, Happy Thoughts?
Yes.
Will spun off from DHS in July, just this past July, and the Department of Direct Care and Treatment will spin off in July of 2025. But it'll be easier to track the fraud that way, I think. Seriously, it will be easier. Harpstead's resignation comes as federal authorities investigate allegations of youth autism centers abusing a DHS-administered program to defraud millions in Medicaid reimbursements. Why? Settle down, Joe.
And 24 individuals for the Feeding Our Future fraud case.
A 2022 report from the Office of the Legislative Auditor also found a pattern of lax oversight of DHS programs. Our own Channel 5 also reported extensively on the agency's failure to move inmates to state-run treatment facilities within 48 hours of a judge's order for civil commitment, as required. As of Monday, Walz had not named an interim DHS commissioner to take Harpstead's place. Why is she leaving, Tim?
You mentioned a 2022 audit. A 2024 audit found the agency didn't follow procedures for avoiding conflicts of interest, engaging whether nonprofits were financially stable enough to actually receive state grants.
The whole thing is a complete corrupt mess. I feel the same way about whoever Jodi Harpstead is as I feel about I continue to be the one lone wolf who believes. I don't think she's lining her pockets. I don't think Walz is lining his pockets. I don't. Heather Mueller, I don't know. But they're not. They're just incompetent, and the whole thing is too big. It all got away from them. It continues to get away from them. They can't keep track. Their oversight is extraordinarily lax. They've all been lectured to by the state auditor. Nothing seems to get through to them. Too much money goes through their hands, and too much money leaves their hands to unvetted sources. Now, why does a Jodi Harpstead get to skate? Why doesn't she have to stay and face responsibilities and explanations? It's just
Why
a
isn't
mess.
that being asked
because
already?
the worst governor in the history of this state is their ringleader, and he's not about to. I suppose Jodi Harpstead and Heather Mueller and the rest of them, maybe they can thank Walz. He hasn't thrown them under the bus. He hasn't said publicly, this is all Jodi's fault or this is all Heather's fault.
Joe, they're all paddling in the same life raft.
Yeah, they're all nuts. They're all corrupt. They're all idiots. They've had too much money to work with. They're too stupid for their own good. It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
This is our version of a fire. This is our version of the Santa Ana winds starting a fire. Only what's burning in Minnesota are dollar bills.
Ooh.
We're
Meanwhile,
just burning it up.
The citizens of Minnesota are naming snowplows and talking about wind chill.
Yep.
We don't care, or they don't care. Us collectively don't.
Jodi Harpstead, God love you. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. But why do you get to skate? Why do you get to retire or move on, or you'll get some other gig and come through a side door and pick up a grant? I don't know what you're up to. Who the hell are you? Who the hell was Heather Mueller? She was some buddy of Walz's when they were both so-called teachers in Mankato.
Right.
How is she your pal, Walz? Look up Jodi Harpstead and Walz. How do they know each other? He didn't bring anybody competent to his government. He brought in apparently his pals or people that were owed favors by the Democrats.
Because that's different than everybody else.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's true of the whole political process.
How do you
Thank
think
you.
we're employed?
That's how it works.
If I may interrupt your rant for just a moment, Joe, the Democrats did not show up, and it is 67-66 still until the Kerry Dietzig seat is decided.
Now,
Which
that's Senate.
even at the
That's
test.
Senate.
Okay.
That's Senate. The House is now 67-67. Brad
Oh, wait.
Radke's
Yeah,
a House
Dietzig,
member.
you're right. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
my fault. Yeah, so it's tied up.
So they
but
should be there. It's tied up. Where are they?
Well, I keep reading it's not tied up, though. So
Well, it
let
is.
me,
If
let
they're
me
gonna-
do some more research.
Well, if they're going to seat Radke, is that his name?
Well, but the Republicans said
Tabke.
they said they wouldn't recognize him, the Republicans.
Radke
So
was the
perhaps
pitcher for
Well,
the
the
Twins.
Republicans are going to ignore the rule of law by a judge?
That's that's what Demuth said yesterday. Possibly may do that. They may not. So let me do some more research.
While you're doing that, Tabke 4 hours ago on Twitter says the judge's ruling was decisive. Speaker designate Demuth should now unequivocally agree that the House GOP will not overturn the voters in our Shakopee